Hey guys, today we're going to be putting together some Genright 3-link DIY brackets. So these are a really good option when you're trying to package a lot of stuff into one small area as you do with a TJ. These are 3-link brackets. Let's see if I can find the picture of them put together here. There we go. And they kind of combine the lower and upper link into one piece. Big piece that goes on the frame. I've got the Genright 4-link rear brackets on here already. Let's see. You can kind of see how the 4-link ones have an adjustable upper link, which is nice. You can set your anti-squat. These 3-link fronts don't have that, which is fine. So this is a really good option. Save a bunch of money if you can weld rather than buying their pre-welded ones, which are quite a bit more. So I, somewhere along the line of getting these a month and a half ago, and now misplaced my instructions for them. However, these ones are not too complicated, and I've been able so far to just kind of look at the picture and determine the appropriate order to put them together in. The 4-link rear ones were a little bit harder, but not too bad. Those was nice to have the instructions for. So what I've got here so far is I've got my driver's side bracket. You can kind of see how it's going to hook onto the frame like that, and then the lower comes off there. I do need to put the upper bracket back on here yet. Got the tab like there, and then there'll be a brace over here on this side as well. When I do that, I'm going to do the same like I did with the lower here and run one of my enduro joints through there just to kind of hold everything in place to make sure that there's enough room. I'm also going to throw an extra washer in there just to account for shrinkage and everything, and should be good to go. This one is pretty much together. I waited to start the filming till now just to make sure that I had the process down. So I will show putting this upper bracket on to this one, and then the other one won't get an upper bracket. It'll just get a gusset in here since I'm only running a 3-link. Although they do send enough bracketry, if you wanted to do a 4-link out of this, you could. So that's actually a really nice bonus. You can see I got to do a little bit of welding on the inside here yet, but everything I need to weld in order to put that upper piece on here and still be able to get to everything is done. So we're going to go ahead and put that on there. Well, I decided once I got this mocked up here, you can see that I've kind of got the link in here. I've got an extra washer in there, and this piece will get put right there, and then this one will be done. But I figured before I do that, I would actually go through with the other side and kind of start from the beginning on one of these, because both sides are going to be the same for the first part, just reversed, and then the upper part changes depending on whether you use the gussets like you've got there or the upper link bracket there. So I'm going to go ahead and start this one fresh, and we'll work through. Then when we get to the upper part, then I'll go ahead and talk about that one a little bit more, and then talk about this one as well. So the first part that you're going to do is take your bracket like this, and I'm just looking on their website here because the way they have them on here is exactly how I'm going to be running them, with an upper on the driver's side only. So you can see where the tabs are there, and I just lined the tabs up once it's closer to the bend, once it's closer to the edge over here, lined them up just like they've got them there, and then that is the top. So I go like this, and then take my keyed piece here and lock this into that spot right there. Now it's not going to stay because the weight is fighting it, but that key is right into this one tab right here. You can see this has got just a little bit of a bump out on it, and that goes right into this hole. Now when you're doing this, when you do the first one, you'll want to make sure that the way that you're doing it, the arms are angled the appropriate direction. So for me, this one is going to be on my passenger side, so it'll be like this. If you look at my Jeep right there, and then I will want my lower to angle out a little bit, so that'll be like this, and down in this case would be out. Kind of hard to do with one hand here, but you get the idea. It'll be angled out a little bit there. So this one will get tabbed in there, and then this is the reciprocating part for that, which will go right here and create that lower link bracket. So what I found out with the other one is this piece here has a good amount of play in it. Quite a bit, half an inch almost. And obviously that's not going to line up perfectly with the other one if you do it one way or the other. So what I found is the easiest was to actually just put a link in there, line everything up, kind of hold it together, and then just tack it in a few places. If I need to, I can beat it a little bit and make some adjustments, and then go ahead and weld from there. But the first two pieces are going to be that keyed piece and then this one here, and then once those are all tacked in place, then we can start with the braces for that, a piece around the back, and then obviously the upper pieces as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put a link in here, get that bolted through so it kind of holds everything together and you can start to see the shape, and then we'll tack it up. Now you can see here that I've kind of got this in place. I do have a link in here, and I did take a thin washer. I think it's on the upper side there. Just to kind of space this out a little bit more. That lower part is keyed in, and I'm kind of just holding the upper part here. It wants to fall away from me. So this upper part I'm not going to set completely until I get the lower part set. So I'm going to key that in place and just kind of hold the upper part with my hand, and then I'll put a tack on each end of this lower winged piece here, and then I can tighten the bolt down a little bit or just kind of adjust this to where it's sitting happily, and I can get a nice line on there. And then once both those pieces are tacked, we can kind of look at it again, make sure that my plates are parallel there, and then start adding pieces. Okay, so you can see here that I've got the link in place, and even just those little tacks really tightened this up. All the more reason to have the washer in there. Now I tacked this lower one in place while everything was snug, and then I tightened that bolt down a little bit more just to help hold this upper plate. I suppose that's the inside plate. It won't be sitting like that. help hold that inside plate in place. So when I tightened everything down, what I tried to do with the other one and then now this one is kind of line up the inside of this plate here with the bottom of this channel here. And you can smack it one side or the other and kind of adjust it a little bit. And so I tried to do that as best as I could. Got pretty close. And so each one of those has 2 tacks on it. It's pretty well in place. And you can see this is a great time to check to make sure that you are putting your stuff together on the right side. So this will be my passenger side. It'll sit on the channel just like this if we're looking at it from the back. And then that link will head outwards from that spot. And that's about what we're looking for. So now that this piece is kind of together, I'm going to take the opportunity to test fit the rest of the pieces, make sure I have clearance everywhere and that nothing's a little funky. And then once everything is clear, we can start adding the other pieces. And what we've got is these 2 pieces would be for the upper link normally. These 2 gussets replace them on the side that you're not using the upper link. And the only other piece is this one here, which goes right across the back here. You can see it lines up with that pretty well. And then it also lines up, let's see if I can get this to balance somehow. It lines up with this pretty well also. And then you just kind of have a double seam right here, which is pretty nice. Let's see right here. What I did on this one, and I'll probably do the same thing on here, is just run a small stitch from here to the corner and then not worry about the rest of this inside here, as this is going to be overlapping it. So this piece itself will get tied into the channel, it'll get tied into this wing here, and then this wing will also get welded all the way up the inside. So there's not really any reason to do that much more in there, and I might even bring this little stitch that I do to the inside rather than the outside, so that this corner here lines up nice and tight. So once I can, well, actually we can see right here that it's pretty much exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to take one of my clamps, hold this in place, tack this in place, and then we can start doing little stitching here and there. I don't want to do too much all at once. I would rather do a stretch here and then flip it and maybe do a stretch on the inside of this big seam and just kind of hop around. I don't want to torch this joint. I do have the stuff to rebuild them, but I'd rather not. They are brand new. So I'm just going to kind of hop around, trying my best not to superheat this joint. And then once everything on the outside that I can get to is done, then I'll have to pull this joint and weld the last couple seams on the inside, which everything should be pretty solid at that point, so I'm not too worried. So we're going to go ahead and clamp that in place and get it tacked up.
test. Give me your worst and you'll get my best. 'Cause I don't know how to back down, how to back down. No, I don't know how to back down, how to back down. Careful, I'm a lion, don't test my pride. Standing like a mountain, looking the devil right in his eyes. got no fears. Only got my blood, my sweat, and my tears. Know how to back down, how to back down. No, I don't know how to back down, how to back down. No, I don't know how to back down, how to back down. No, I don't know how to back down, how to back down. I am a fighter. I am a fighter. I am a fighter. I am a fighter. Smoke from a gun, like a brand new sun. Since the day I was born a fighter, I rise up, like smoke from a gun, like a brand new sun. Since the day I was born a fighter, I rise up, like smoke from a gun.
Alright, so there is the passenger side one that we started putting together there. And then now I've got the driver's side one here again. And while I'm waiting for that one to cool, I can start putting this upper link portion together on the driver's side one here. So what I've done, like I showed before, is I basically just have a link bolted in here. I swapped to a little bit thinner washer so I don't have as big of a gap there. And then this is kind of just balanced in there. I'm going to get this straight eyeball wise, kind of make sure everything lines up the way I want it to. I'll tack this upper plate in place, and then take this piece and I'll hold it right where I want it. Once this upper one is tacked, then I can swivel this around, make sure that I'm clearing right here the whole way through. And then when I am, I can tack this in place, then we can go ahead and finish weld that as well. Well, the top is tacked in on both ends, and then I've got this side plate tacked in 3 places. This will never really move anywhere besides this little bit of degree here, but I mean, it's free and clear all the way through. I will probably pull this a little bit snug, this bolt yet a little bit more. I do have just a little bit of play in there. I'll probably pull that snug when I go ahead and start welding this, just so that I don't end up with a lot of slop in there. Other than that, this one is pretty much ready to just get put together, so you can kind of see how this is going to work. This goes over my frame rail, and then from the front you can see this will be my upper link and that one will be my lower link. That one will go outwards towards the wheel, and then this one will just end up being wherever I put my upper link on my truss. And that should be really simple. Tons of flex, tons of movement. I'm really happy with the 4-link brackets that I have in the back, so I'm hoping these work just as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this burned in a little bit more. By that time, that should be cool. We'll hop back and forth between the two, and then go ahead and put the gussets on that one as well. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get there. Otherwise, let's do it. Well, we got this one pretty much put together. Got a little bit to do right there yet. Just waiting for things to cool. Then I'll pull both of these joints and do what I can on the inside. Probably not super necessary, but it never hurts. And this one got a little bit more to do here and a little bit on the back side as well, and then the inside of that one as well. However, since this one is not getting an upper link mount, we do need to put these cool little gussets in. Now, they do give you both pieces, and I could, if I wanted to, just put another link mount on the upper side over there, but I've been trying to think of a reason why I would put it up there. I don't really plan on running a 4-link, and there's not really any other benefit for me doing that. And then I would also need to put something in there as a spacer to kind of pull that together and make it solid, or at least I'd want to. I don't know if I would necessarily need to, but that would make me feel better about it. But I think I'm just going to skip that and do the gussets, as that's why they send them. So this is a nice 90 with a little bit of a swoop there, and I'm just going to line it up along this edge, probably just a little bit in from my corner bead there, and just enough that I can lay a nice bead along the side of it, and then along this side of it. And I will do the same thing on this side. Probably end up looking something like that once I'm done. So I can tack those into place and then finish weld them, and this one should also be done. So I'm going to go ahead and tack that stuff in and go through and finish weld all of the rest of this, and then I'll get you some pictures of them once they're all completed, and we'll show you what they look like on the frame as well. Good morning. So last night I finished welding those up. I will show you some pictures of those in a little bit. My GoPro doesn't like to zoom in, so I will get some pictures of those on there. Everything turned out really nicely. I didn't have any warpage. Keeping the joints in there while I welded as much as I could helped a lot. My welding helmet, the battery in it died with about an inch left, so there's an inch on the inside of one. Thankfully, that's not super pretty, but other than that, everything went great. Here is the passenger side. You can see with the two gussets on there. That turned out really nice. I decided not to weld the inside of those gussets because I don't really think it's necessary. The outside welds turned out really nice, and it just seemed like overkill to do the insides, and if I ever did want to add an upper link on that side, it's just that much more to cut off. But otherwise, they turned out really nice. Right here was the last inch where my helmet was down. Just close my eyes. But other than that, I did take the driver's side one and throw it on here so you can kind of see what's going on. You can see the back one right there. They hang just below the frame just a little bit, which is awesome. I didn't want great big brackets below the frame like the factory ones are, so these tuck them up a little bit nicer. And then you can see the upper link is there. Now, clearly, it's getting a little friendly with the drive shaft here, so we're just gonna have to play around with it, see what works. I may cut into my skid plate here and push this link bracket back a little bit. This is an oversized skid plate. It's much farther forward than the factory one. I'm covering my whole transmission oil pan pretty much. So I may cut into that a little bit, push it back. As it sits right now, my front and lower links would be about 32 inches, which is pretty close to what I'm looking for. I don't want full long arm numbers, I guess. My rear ones are only 28 on the bottom, so I'm more of a mid-arm length, which works great. Lots of belly clearance and still plenty of flex. So we're just gonna have to play around with this link, make sure I can make everything work appropriately. If I push it back, I should gain a little bit more clearance here. Otherwise, maybe I will end up cutting those gussets off the other one and throwing my link on the other side and just doing something with my exhaust instead. We're just gonna have to see what works, what fits. But otherwise, that's kind of what it is. That's what they look like from the side. So just that lower link hangs down. This one's taken quite a beating already, as you can see, so they hold up nicely and been great. So hopefully the front ones work just as well, and we can go ahead and start mocking up some links now and get that truss tacked in place and see what we can do. Appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully we can get another video out doing the truss and some more of the link work and brackets and stuff like that coming up this next week here. It's Thanksgiving week coming up, so I should have plenty of time, but guess we'll just have to see. My steering is getting close, but it's getting a little tight up there trying to push it forward, so we're just gonna have to see what we can play with, and then once we have a location in place, we can start doing links, and then the fun begins. So appreciate you guys watching. Hit the link, or hit the subscribe, hit the like button. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything, let me know in the comments, and I will get back to them as soon as I can. Thanks.